are the topic under role modeling that reminds us that children are us. Children are us. Now, in this book, I use Proverbs. I use African Proverbs, African wisdom, and then I use wisdom from the book of Proverbs in the Bible. The African proverb says, I'm not sure which country, but it says, children who hate all those who give all things to them. Children who hate all those who give all things to them. And then the biblical proverb is from Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 7. Wisdom is supreme, therefore get wisdom. Though it costs all you have, get understanding. Let's look at the meaning of these proverbs. Children who hate all those who give all things to them, a reminder that spoiled children end up despising the very parents who spoiled them. Let me repeat that again. Spoiled children end up despising the very parents who spoiled them. As they grow up, they may throw tantrums and make demands, but inside they are craving for love that demands restraint. Restraint is love. If we love them, we shall restrain them from self-destructive behaviors that end up actually breaking their lives and who they're supposed to be. Then the biblical proverb, wisdom is supreme, therefore get wisdom. Though it costs all you have, get understanding. This is a cry that urges parents in our context not to spare anything to learn parenting skills. No one goes to school or college to earn a degree in parenting, and so competence in child rearing is left to each one of us to acquire. And for each child, there is no second chance. Once they have grown, they have grown. Now, the proverb urges us, therefore, to leave no stone unturned in asking God for wisdom, which He liberally supplies when we seek to know. Our role is to do the best as parents, then leave the rest to the Creator. There is an advert I've seen from a company in the US that says toys are us. I thought about this when I considered the reality that our children are really like us. Once I had a very angry mother in our clinic. She had brought a rebellious 15-year-old whom she claimed was rude and spoiled. She narrated how the young woman became very angry when she was crossed. It's like the 15-year-old had this uncontrollable anger, tantrums, where the mother was wondering what to do. She told me, mother said, "You can't believe it, doctor," she narrated. The other day, my daughter became so mad that she kicked a hole through the door of her wardrobe. How can I control a child who kicks a hole into the door of her wardrobe? And I asked her, what methods have you tried to deal with this child's anger? I asked her. Well, mother said, I take away privileges, but it doesn't help. I said, give me an example of a recent attempt. I pursued. The mother looked at the child who sat there with a smirk on her beautiful face. And she told her, remember last Wednesday, Achien, that was the name of the child. Remember, I found you playing with your phone instead of doing your homework. What did I do? Asked the mother. The young lady replied, Mom, you grabbed my phone and you smashed it against the wall. Yes, doctor. Exactly, that's what I did, confirmed the mother. I decided to break the phone. And now maybe without it, you can settle down and do your homework in peace. I looked at the mother and I asked, did it work? Of course not, answered the mother. That's why we're here. What was the difference between Achieng's angry outburst and her mother's behavior? None really. The child was just mirroring the parent. The adolescent had learned that instead of talking about issues, the way was to lash out in anger and violent outbursts. Temper tantrums are not just the preserve of young children. Many parents are probably still emotionally adolescents in their many ways, especially when they become angry, stressed, or distressed. Sigmund Freud discusses a psychological process called fixation. He argues that during our psychological development, we graduate from stage to stage, beginning from childhood, by adolescence to adulthood, then late adulthood to old age. Very much like African initiation stages, it is only after navigating one stage that we can legitimately move on to the next one. Sometimes an adult is admonished to stop acting or talking like a child if there is display of immature behavior or attitude. Psychology indicates that if for some reason we get stuck in any area of our lives at some stage, we may mature physically or even progress academically, but we remain childish at that particular stage where we got fixated. If threatened at any point in our lives, we are likely to revert to childish ways. In our adult bodies, even dressed in a suit, we might actually behave very much like the child we are trying to discipline. Let me give you another example. Meme, not his real name, somehow missed role modeling that would have taught him skills in problem solving. His father expected him to become a faultless person. Indeed, the older man had no patience for mistakes or weaknesses in his son, Meme. As a young man, he worked very hard at school and at home. He pushed himself to perform in university. He studied engineering and as a worker did all he could to perform. He would consider it a weakness to ask for help. As an engineer, Meme would not allow anyone to think for a moment that he did not understand or know how to deal with ambiguous limitations. Life, however, is full of ambiguity. As an example, his wife became depressed. Meme wondered why the woman would torture herself with tears and cry. "All you care for is your work," she complained. "You come home late. You don't love me because if you did, you would touch me. You no longer do." Meme did not seek for help or try to understand what she was talking about. One day he came to a clinic with his 16-year-old son. So you can see Meme, his father, and now his son. "Doctor, you help young people such as this one. Please help my son," he explained. "How long will you take?" he asked me. Then he turned to his son. He said, "Jimmy, doctor says that you'll take about 1 hour. I'll pick you after exactly 1 hour." And he drove off. I turned to the slender, sad-looking youth seated before me. Normally, we get the parent of a youth below 18 to sign a therapy contract and complete the intake together with the parent. It is through the eyes of the parent that we first see the child as well understand how he navigated his development milestones. We also ask the youth to help us understand the situation at hand using the child's perception of his family life. But now the father was in such a big hurry that he just left and handed his son over to me, promising to come and pick him later after he had been sorted out. I noticed the man's speed of packaging the problem and got curious to find out what was really happening. I soon found out. "So Jimmy, what can we do for you?" His response: "He didn't tell you why he dragged me to your office?" "No," I answered. "He seemed to be in such a hurry to go somewhere," responded Jimmy. "He is always in a hurry," he replied with a sad, quiet smile. "I wish you'd stop sometimes to listen to me." All he does is talk. He does not listen. "Okay," I responded. "Let's not talk about him since he's not here, shall we? Let's talk about you instead." So Jimmy started talking, and the more I listened and encouraged him, the freer he became. He described himself and his home. He narrated his parents' relationship with him and life at school. 30 minutes into that first session, I realized that my real client had driven away in his Mercedes Benz. The young man sitting with me in my clinic could be referred only as what we call an identified patient. Whatever the father saw as a problem was only a mirror image of a dysfunctional father and an equally wanting marriage and family life. The challenge was how to bring the man into the clinic. He was the one that really needed help. Keep on reading. Get a copy for yourself of my book at Keswick Bookshop, at Amazon, or at Oasis Africa. Bye.